10-9 volume, cones, pyramids, and spheres. The objective today is to find the volume of pyramids, cones, and spheres. Volume is equal to the number of cubic units it takes to fill a figure. The generic for the volume today is volume is equal to 1/3 base times altitude, and remember the altitude is the height of the figure. So again, this is our generic formula, and we're going to start with a pyramid. So the base of a pyramid can be a rectangle, it can be a pentagon, it can be whatever. And then when we have our points, so since this pyramid has the base of a rectangle or a square, we have a length and a width, and then remember the height of the pyramid is the altitude. So we're going to do volume is equal to 1/3 length times width times altitude. And for a cone, we have a base of a circle, and our generic is volume is equal to 1/3 times the base times the altitude. Do you remember what the area is for a circle? Remember, it involves the radius, and so the volume is 1/3 pi times r squared. The pi times r squared, that's the area of the circle, multiplied by the altitude. So would you try this example, see if you can find the volume of this pyramid? Remember, the generic version is volume is equal to 1/3 times the base times the altitude. So what's our base here? It's a square because it's 12 by 12. So our length would be 12, our width would be 12. Then our altitude is the height of the pyramid. In this case, it's 8. The easiest way to solve this problem is probably to take care of the 12 times 12 times 8, then divide by 3. If you do that, you'll get 384 cubic units. On your homework tonight, I want you to write plugging the information into the original formula and then giving me the answer rounded to the nearest whole unit. Would you find the volume for this cone? Remembering that the generic version is volume is equal to 1/3 times the base times the altitude. So since we have a circle for the base, our base is going to be pi times r squared. We then need to plug those in. Remember, what is pi equal to, or not equal to, but what do we use for pi? 3.14. What's r in this case? 2. And our altitude is 5. Doing order of operations, we have to do the 2 to the second power first, which is 4. 3.14 times 4 times 5 divided by 3 equals 20.93333. We're supposed to round to the nearest whole number, so this would round to 21 cubic units. And for your homework, you're going to do 1/3 times 3.14 times 2 squared times 5 is approximately equal to 21 cubic units. Volume for a sphere is a little different. Our formula for a sphere is 4/3 times pi times r cubed. So since our r is 3, we're going to plug that in, which would be 3 to the third power is not 9. You want to be careful about that. It's 27. And I'm going to do 27 times pi, which is 3.14 first. I'll use commutative property of multiplication. And if we multiply that out, we get 84.78. When you're multiplying by 4/3, it's the same as multiplying by 4, then dividing by 3. So if we do that, we'll get 113.04 inches cubed, or cubic inches. And rounding that to the nearest whole number and plugging in our numbers, we'll have 4/3 times 3.14 times 3 to the third is approximately 113 cubic inches. Would you try number 2 here? Okay, so when you plug things in, you're going to have 4/3 times pi times 10 to the third power 10 to the third power means 10 times 10 times 10, which gives us 1,000. So we'll have 4 thirds times pi times 1,000. Remember, pi is 3.14, so 3.14 times 1,000 will be 3,140 times 4 divided by 3 gives us 4,186.666 cubic centimeters. Round that to the nearest whole number. We'll get 4 thirds times 3.14, or you could put pi, times 10 to the third is approximately 4,187 cubic centimeters. Would you try to find the volume of the Earth if its radius is approximately 4,000 miles? So here's our formula, and would you go ahead and try to solve this? Now, you may or may not have been able to solve this because this gets some big numbers here. So, depending on how good of a calculator you have. But if we do, our R is 4,000, so 4,000 times 4,000, that's 16 million, times another 4,000, basically gets us 64 billion, which I'm going to write as 6.4 times 10 to the 10th, using scientific notation. Multiply that by pi, I multiplied by 4 divided by 3. And that gives me 8.53 times 10 to the 10th, which is approximately 85,300,000,000 times pi. And remember, pi is 3.14. So we'll get the volume of the Earth is approximately 2.68 times 10 to the 11th cubic miles, which is 268 billion cubic miles. It's a really big number. And that is the end. Make sure you get all your notes done. And at the end of this, I'll put up the assignment so that you can see what it's going to be.